What happens to us after death is one of the most important questions that we've been asking ourselves. This question is so important because, as you will see in a moment, it is connected to two other equally significant questions. Who are we and why are we here? All of it becomes even more meaningful when we take into account that the fear of death and the fear of being alone are the two biggest human fears that we struggle with throughout our lives. It's not surprising given that we're born with no recollection of where we came from and with no awareness where we go after this life. Most of us are petrified of the prospect of turning into nothingness and finding out at the end that everything has absolutely no meaning. Luckily, we know now that it's not the case. I've been researching afterlife for decades, and finally, after analyzing countless reports from people who have had experience with being on the other side, I can once and for all connect the dots and create a more or less accurate guide as to what happens when we die. For years, I've been looking for analogies and similarities in books and stories of out-of-body experiences from people who went through an NDE or those who worked with people in hypnotic states. If you combine the information offered by Michael Newton, Raymond Moody, Eben Alexander, Brian Weiss, Daniel Brinkley, and others, and combine it with thousands of individual and independent interviews and reports or YouTube videos, you'll be able to paint a highly truthful picture of what happens when we leave our bodies. One of the most important questions for humans, and it turns out that we've had the answer to it for a few decades now, and it's not in the news. The reason that this information is not a part of our mainstream science should immediately be a red flag to any spiritual researcher or a truth seeker, especially when you add to it everything that the insider talked about, what many religions and the law of one confirm, but most importantly, what the outer dimensional entities have told many of us in psychedelic and meditative states. Why do I believe in the validity of what I'm about to present here? Because this explanation of our eternal existence is shared by thousands of unrelated people from all walks of life. The only interpretation of this phenomena, according to contemporary science, is a hallucinating brain, and since shared hallucinations are an impossibility, the only explanation we're left with is that all of it is true. I also want to remind you that I talked to 3 dead people myself, and I was given information about things that my human brain has no way of creating on its own. Watch the video Talking to the Dead if you want to know more. This is an undeniable proof that all of it is a coherent and logical description of what happens after we exit our bodies. My personality and my unexplainable thirst for knowledge here are also an important indicator for me of what objectively can be considered truth about afterlife. It is very likely that you will know what I'm talking about. My personal journey of self-improvement and gradual awakening are a case study for a successful use of earthly existence towards soul development. My lessons are difficult and painful, but I can clearly see a planned progression path towards perfection, and that for me is the most important confirmation of what is described by others as a journey of souls towards uniting with the Creator. I can't stress enough how important the knowledge contained in this video is for every human being on Earth, and I want you to share it with all your family and friends so that they can learn why they're here and what their life is supposed to be about. This is a truly revolutionary and groundbreaking discovery, and to be honest, I'm amazed why anyone hasn't compiled all of the available information into one encyclopedic guide yet. I was told recently that my job should be now about dispensing hope, and this video is a part of that task. I want you to stop being anxious about death, and I want you to concentrate on your purpose instead of being paralyzed by the irrational fear of dying. I also want you to stop using various methods to escape this reality because of not understanding your purpose or not knowing the meaning of life. I want you to appreciate this rare opportunity of being here in this wonderful body, and I want you to look forward to completing your tasks, and when the time comes, I want you to be excited about regaining all your powers and going back home. Because your home is heaven. Remember about this in moments of doubt. This video will be followed by another important upload about life purpose formula that allows you to once and for all discover what your personal journey here is about, and both videos are incredibly important aspects of your soul's progression. They might give you an opportunity to shorten your journey by minimizing the number of lessons and the struggles necessary to achieve your goal in this reality. It took me literally decades to find the truth about the afterlife, and if you're smart about what you will find out now, you'll be able to transform your life into what it's supposed to be. A purposeful and highly meaningful training session instead of a painful struggle. I hope you find in yourself the gratitude needed to support this channel financially to allow me to offer you more of these insights. As these videos are getting more and more complex and time-consuming, I hope you can express your appreciation by joining Patreon or Subscribestar or by donating using PayPal, Cash App, crypto, or bank transfer. It takes only a moment, and your generosity will be very important to me and the community. These videos are very unique and they offer knowledge you won't find anywhere else. If you want to discuss what you learn here in detail, schedule a donation-funded chat with me. You can also buy merchandise. All links in the video description and at b434.com. Thank you very much for your support. It means everything to me. We need to start by saying that, like with everything else that humans believe in, we're completely wrong about death. The widely accepted idea of what death looks like is that we're losing our life, yet it's the exact opposite of that. The separation of the soul from your borrowed organic vessel is a beautiful moment in which you liberate yourself from the struggles of low-frequency body stuck in a very dense and difficult reality. You leave behind this state of detachment to unite with the life-giving divine energy. We imagine death to be associated with darkness, whereas the truth is that it is a moment of enlightenment and incredible empowerment. You will trade the sense of loneliness, displacement, and isolation for powerful feelings of harmony, love, and joy. You leave behind guilt, fear, pain, and confusion to enter the permanent state of knowledge, clarity, and highly vibrational bliss. The moment of death brings the awareness of being more alive than ever, immediately amplified by the sense of relief, familiarity, and regained connectedness. This is what the process of dying looks like in detail. Depending on the circumstances of your death, your soul might be leaving and returning to your body if you're in a life-threatening situation. If you're in great pain or about to experience a body-damaging situation, your soul will leave your body moments before your death, and it will stay close to your body so that the impact on your soul's energy is minimized. Depending on your level of development and your soul's awareness, you will either be confused by what just happened, trying to communicate with everyone who's present at the moment of your death, or you will immediately understand what happened, sensing the protective presence of supporting souls, guides, and the divine, and you'll want to move on. You will leave your body through the top of your head, and once that happens, you'll experience an overwhelming sense of relaxation, liberation, and curiosity. Everything will become brighter and much more real. Earthly life will seem like a foggy dream in comparison. You will feel a force that is pulling you towards a tunnel or a portal, which is the gateway to the spirit world. The process of leaving your body is very fast, but the process of entering the spirit world seems to be precise and carefully calculated. The portal will open sometimes next to you, and for some, it will be high above the surface of Earth. You will become weightless, and a beam of light energy adjusted to your soul's frequency will allow you to float towards the portal. People who die together will leave Earth separately according to their distinct vibrational path and according to their individual circumstances. Small children who die with their loved ones will leave Earth together with them. Everyone will reunite in the spirit world eventually at the right time and place. At the moment of transition, you will experience relaxing musical vibrations and sounds like buzzing or humming that will accompany you on your way out of the earthly realm. This music is made of the sounds of the universe, and it has healing properties. Those of us who have had psychedelic experience might know what it sounds like. Most souls express no interest in what happens to their bodies they leave behind. Depending on your circumstances and your advancement, you'll either be on your way quickly into the spirit world, or you will want to stay on Earth for a few days or even weeks until your funeral takes place and until you connect with your loved ones to help them overcome their sorrow. Time is an earthly sensation, so it will be of no significance to you. You might experience some frustration trying to get through to your loved ones, as it might be not possible due to their sadness and grief blocking your ability to communicate. You might get insight into the future of those you leave behind on Earth, and it will help you knowing that they will be okay. The awareness that you will soon all be reunited in the spirit world will also be helpful. If successful, you'll have a chance to communicate with your family and friends through objects and other people, especially through children. The younger and less experienced your soul, the more attached you will feel to Earth's environment and the longer you'll want to stay here. If you went through a difficult life or if you have some unfinished business on Earth, the first entity you will meet will be your guide. If not, you'll be greeted at the portal by family, friends, or soulmates, and they'll offer you assurance that everything's fine. You will not be met by a god or whatever you believed in while being on Earth, although many mistaken the entities they meet for their god. Sometimes you won't be greeted by anyone, and that usually happens when you're no longer needed because of your advanced nature. How long your meeting lasts depends on your personal circumstances. Once you go through the portal and travel through vast distances, it is likely that depending on the history of your earthly life, you'll be taken to an enclosed space where you'll be bathed in liquid energy that will heal the emotional injuries that your soul has sustained from earthly life. This is just the first step in your soul's restoration process. Then you'll take part in a counseling session with your guide. At this stage, you will report on the life that just ended and you'll receive additional emotional support if needed. It's possible that your guide will be someone very close to you, as guides are our guardian angels in earthly lives, and some of us sense their presence or even know who they are. Sometimes there will be more than one guide greeting you. They choose you and they remain with you for thousands of earthly years, assisting you before, during, and after earthly lives. They want the best for you and they are involved emotionally in your struggles on Earth, but they are unable to assist you in your progress until you make necessary changes and discover the solutions yourself. They feel deeply responsible for you and your development, and they offer you their unconditional love. Once this stage is over, you'll be welcomed by the members of your soul group, and this reception is planned in advance. At the beginning of your soul's existence, you're assigned to a group made of members with the same level of understanding, awareness, and desires. This group is permanent and no new members will ever be added to it. You are united together for eternity and you'll have the same objectives on which you'll work collectively, supporting each other. There are between 3 and 25 members in each group, 15 on average, and you choose your lives on Earth together as close relatives or friends. Souls in your group will regularly take on the role of your family members, your partners, or friends, moving to a different role in every incarnation, similarly to actors in a movie or players in a game. You are all connected and sensitive to each other in a way that is indescribable in earthly terms. Your group is designed in a way that will allow you to be mutually supportive and protective. Some of you in the group will advance faster than others, and some of you will demonstrate special skills in teaching, healing, and so on, and you work together with other group members on these particular talents. These relations are clearly visible in our earthly lives. Your group will gradually get smaller as you develop, but you never lose connection to each other. You'll be contributing your best to help other members, and you will be accountable in your actions to each other. There are secondary groups who your circle will be connected to, and these groups can be made of more than 1,000 souls. After meeting with your soul group, you'll appear in front of a few higher beings who will engage in examining and evaluating your past earthly life. They are not judgmental, and the purpose of that meeting is to help you develop based on the lessons you just went through. There are always the same beings, and you will know all of them. For advanced souls, sometimes your personal guide will become one of these higher beings. In that meeting, you'll be allowed to talk honestly about everything you struggled with, and you can talk about what you're proud of. There is nothing you can hide from them, as there is no need to do this, and you'll be treated fairly and lovingly. You will see them one more time before you decide to go to Earth again. We don't know much about what happens during these meetings because there is an intentional block put on the transmission of these sessions to earthly reality, but we do know that during these meetings you'll feel the presence of divine energy, possibly the Creator itself. Apparently, this is the closest we know of that you can get to the divine. It is important to mention that in the spirit world, every soul is equally important and has the same value as every other soul. No matter what you look like or who you are on Earth, a soul is a soul in the spirit world, and you have only one identity that is being expressed in earthly realm. A soul is always in the process of developing into something bigger than what you are now. A soul cannot be destroyed and is eternal. It is a transparent mass of energy, but you're free to display the human characteristics in the spirit world, and souls project their earthly forms in communication with each other depending on how they're feeling in a given moment. You can assume any features, and it's your decision to show which part of yourself you want to present to others. All souls have a specific color aura, and it is visible even in earthly reality to mediums or through the use of specialized equipment. Your color depends on your level of advancement and knowledge. It goes from white/gray to yellow to gold to green to light blue, and then for the most advanced souls it goes to dark blue, purple, and then deep purple. The darker the color, the more developed a soul is. These main colors are tinted with additional colors indicating unique personal characteristics. Every soul also has a distinct vibration pattern that surrounds its core of individuality. The spirit world is what we on earth describe as heaven. It is a non-solid, layered realm full of light and brightness. It is a hierarchical structure, and in its functionality it resembles a huge educational institution with classrooms monitored by a teacher soul who is in charge of our progress. The spirit world and life in it is incredibly complex, and we have access only to information related to the knowledge about souls who incarnate on earth. What we know comes from the perspective of young spirits who can offer us glimpses into the spirit world after coming to our physical world, and we don't know what it's like for more advanced souls. The life in the spirit world is fun, and you can engage in many activities. You're not forced to reincarnate or train yourself with other souls if you don't want to. Your unwillingness to advance in your development or your desire to be alone is honored. It is important to mention that souls go to other places than Earth, but knowledge about these experiences is limited to the more experienced souls, and we know very little of them. Although it is up to you how often you want to reincarnate on Earth to learn new lessons, it is estimated that a soul will incarnate in our reality every 30 to 40 earthly years. Although some souls can take even 1,000 years before they decide to come back to Earth, but our understanding of time is irrelevant in the spirit world. Some souls spend as much time on Earth as possible to speed up their progression, while other, older and more advanced souls spend less and less time on Earth incarnating as they become more mature and developed. There are souls who decide never to incarnate on the physical worlds, and there are the ones who never stay in the spirit world. When the time comes, you will decide to return to Earth, and sometimes it won't be an easy decision, especially if you didn't complete your tasks in the previous life or if you just recently came back from a troubled existence. It is very difficult to leave your heavenly home where your life is filled with freedom, wisdom, bliss, companionship, compassion, and full awareness. While you'll be looking forward to the physical pleasures and the sensations of the human body, sometimes it might be a difficult decision remembering aggressive and competing world of the lonely, dog-eat-dog human environment. But the need for physical self-expression and the need for further education and development are stronger than anything else, and when you're ready, you'll go through another interview process with the higher beings to discuss your preparedness to come back to Earth. Once you do this, you'll go through the process of selecting your new body and your new life. You'll be the one who makes the decision what you want to experience, how difficult your existence will be, how many lessons you'll go through, depending on how much you're willing to take on and how fast you want to progress. Some take it slow and decide to have easy lives, while others decide to incarnate into a challenging existence full of struggles and hardships. You'll pick a body that matches your soul's character and one which body flaws will match the lessons you want to learn. Despite what you see your body as, you'll never be trapped in a random or mismatched body that doesn't offer progression possibilities. It is rare to return to the same family years later unless you'll be taking part in a teaching process you all agreed upon earlier. In fact, it is rare to return with the same race to the same country or time period. You'll take advantage of the variety of options available on Earth. The slots for entering earthly existence are very limited, and sometimes it takes a long time for you to be given a human body. It is a precious opportunity, and the decision to test yourself on Earth is not an easy one to make. This is why those who go for the hardships of low vibration frequency of this realm are highly regarded and admired in the spirit world, and once you do this a few times, you become somewhat of a celebrity there. Exiting the spirit world and entering a human body is a much quicker and easier process than leaving the earthly vessel and entering the spirit world. This is mainly because you will come from the world of knowledge into the world of forgetfulness, whereas on your way out of Earth, you come from the world of forgetfulness into the world of knowledge. You'll enter a baby's body a few months before your birth, which gives you enough time to adjust to your new physical reality. Once in your mother's womb, your soul will travel outside occasionally until you experience birth, which is much more shocking than the moment of death. You will still have a gradually decreasing awareness of your soul until the age of 5 or 6, when your human brain develops to a point where it will no longer remember where you came from. But your soul will continue to travel throughout your life, while sleeping, in meditation, in psychedelic states, or under an anesthetic. Your soul can be completely absent from your body in moments of near-death experiences, coma, or brain injuries. Earth is a very difficult training ground, and you will realize that as soon as you come here. There are worlds where you must overcome suffering and worlds where you need to struggle mentally. On Earth, you do both. It's a hard reality, and coming here is very impressive to those who mostly stay in the spirit world. Your hardships will be amplified by your attempts to survive mentally while being detached from the creative energy and while being alone in your human body. On top of it, very often you'll be paying back your karmic duty that will make the existence even more difficult. This can lead to confusion or even complete failure in fulfilling your job here. That's how difficult it is to be on Earth, and that's why in the next video I'll talk about how you can recall what you came here for. It is important to know this because if you happen to be a young soul with very little experience of being on Earth, which I think is highly unlikely for any 434 member, the environment will be particularly difficult, as you will subconsciously expect for humans to represent the values of love, joy, and hope, and you'll expect this world to be fair and logically structured. We all know that's not the case, and what this earthly reality is like. But speaking in universal terms, other than expression of your identity, your purpose here can be simply defined as development, advancement, and self-improvement. Although your lessons are pre-planned and are part of your existence, you retain your free will and you decide how these lessons are carried out. There is a reason why you need to take care of your body and make sure that you engage in carefully planned training sessions here on Earth, because your experiences will leave a temporary emotional mark on your soul. If you go through a particularly difficult existence, this imprint can become permanent, as can the results of beneficial lessons. Your soul will technically live 2 lives, one in the spirit world and one on Earth. Your energy needs to be divided so that your soul's memories are not retained in human body, and also so that all of your energy doesn't overload your human body's physical capacity. It's possible for you as a free spirit between earthly incarnations to come to this physical realm just as a tourist between your physical lives to simply help others in need. You also need to know that there are other entities who travel to Earth as tourists, although they have never incarnated on Earth. Some of them are advanced and some of them are undeveloped and can become sometimes problematic, but it's not the result of their malicious intent. You need to know that there are worlds where you go to take a break and relax, worlds where you train yourself in creating matter out of energy. There are realms with low count of inhabitants where everything is very harmonious. You also need to understand that we come to Earth not only as humans, but also as insects, aquatic animals, and many other forms, depending on our developmental stage. You do not know about any of this because before you came here, you agreed not to remember. Learning from scratch is much more efficient than knowing what happened before and what will happen in the future. You would also have a problem with treating your life seriously if you knew about everything that happened in the past. You could even get distracted by trying to take care of unresolved matters from previous existences. But it's not a complete unawareness. This is well known to everyone in our community because we get glimpses of our previous lives and we receive knowledge from our higher selves in our dreams, during periods of difficulties and struggles, in meditation, and in psychedelic states. Some of us intuitively feel where we're supposed to go and what we're supposed to do. Others have insights into their past lives and our earthly goals despite the veil of forgetfulness blocking our memory. In certain moments, our eternal awareness sips through to our daily lives to offer us clues as to why we're here, while our spiritual amnesia lets us go through all of our training sessions without knowing the answers, and also relieving us of the burden of past failures and allowing us to apply the mechanisms of progression. There is a small group of souls who cannot accept their body expiring and who refuse to return to the spirit world for personal reasons. We call those spirits in our reality ghosts. These troubled souls choose to stay on Earth because of disagreeing with their situation or because of some unfinished business in last incarnation on Earth. They are confused and strongly attached emotionally to their past lives, and they are struggling with letting go of their earthly contamination. There are special advanced souls whose job is to monitor these lost souls and to help them return to the spirit world. This is usually a domain of young souls with very little experience, and their guides will allow them to stay for as long as they need as a result of their free will until a displaced spirit can be convinced to make a transition, leaving behind their earthly inferno. Although we came up with a lot of scary stories explaining the ghost phenomenon in earthly reality, these spirits are actually not evil. Demons do not exist, and there is no demonic possession. There is no hell, and the closest you can get to something that will resemble it is an existence in the physical reality where you're making bad decisions, creating an environment of denial and misunderstanding for yourself, where your existence is immersed in constant self-imposed confusion and suffering. You don't feel pain as a soul, so hell couldn't even work the way humans believe it would. This is an example of one of the illogical fallacies that people here tend to believe. Some spirits are so misguided that they get involved in what we call evil acts. These are immature souls at low level of development, and they are always held accountable for all their malicious acts. I explained their nature in the video called 2020 Explained. Once in the spirit world, these souls will go into solitude and they will voluntarily stay away from other souls so that they do not affect negatively other members of their group. They will go through extended consultations with their guides, and sometimes they will choose to immediately return to Earth to take on the role of a victim of the same evil act to learn what this pain feels like. The period of seclusion sometimes lasts for a very long time before they decide to rejoin their groups and meet the council of higher beings. Although there is a lot of compassion and understanding from everyone, these lost souls will be treated more strict by their guides, and they will choose to take actions that will allow them to gain the understanding of the karmic process. This is how evil actually works on Earth, and this is why many of us have a very troubled and traumatic existences. If you abuse someone in your life, you'll come back as the victim of that abuse in your next existence, and you will suffer until you learn the value of good conduct and the laws of karma. Payback lessons will be particularly painful if evil was inflicted on young, immature souls who are shocked by the primitive and violent nature of earthly life. There is no devil who will punish you for your misguided behavior, but it is you yourself who will impose the most painful lessons so that you can learn how not to repeat the same mistakes. There is no escaping from it, and that's why it is so important to learn to become good as soon as possible in your journey to perfection. All souls come from the creation of love and wisdom, and that's where they return. No permanent negative karma stays attached to a soul. A soul that repeatedly commits evil will suffer for a long time by being separated from their groups and staying in solitary and painful karmic payback existences until they move from the state of imperfection to perfection in that particular area of development. Although everything is your personal decision, committing suicide and leaving your existence early is frowned upon by everyone in the spirit world. Getting to earthly life is a precious gift, and it takes a long time to get an available slot for human body, and if it's misused because of you not understanding your training, you'll be wasting a lot of time and opportunities for everyone involved. You'll have to come back to a different life and do the same all over again, possibly in less favorable conditions. Although your decision will be met with acceptance, you'll have to face the sense of disappointment in your interactions with your group members and your guide. Escaping chronic physical pain or serious disability, of course, have a different meaning. Everyone who's had any form of insight into the spirit world will tell you that it is so complex that it is virtually impossible to be described using human language. We can only translate everything using analogies and symbols that will subjectively be understood by a few, but they will not describe the nature or a particular aspect of the spiritual realm. It's important to remember that struggling with any aspect of your physical existence, like emotional or physical addictions, will detract you from your path and will have a contaminating impact on your soul. There seems to be a consensus among advanced reincarnating souls that the rules of the game on Earth need to change. It is also what I feel like about the human world. It seems that our lives here have become stripped of any form of faith and the values of love, joy, and hope through the use of addictive substances, widely available distractions, and through engaging in life's trivia. It would appear that the veil of forgetfulness now has a stronger grip on your soul than before, contributing towards hopelessness and the misunderstanding of the meaning of life. A soul has a lot of difficulties today to express its identity because of the widespread use of chemical substances clouding the human mind. It is easier than ever for a soul to become voluntarily trapped in a human body, unable to act as intended. Advanced souls are now opting for training on less populated and less stressful worlds where they remember more of who they really are. If you chronically feel homesick without being able to define where home really is, you'll understand what the problem with Earth is. It seems that this realm is in the process of undergoing some serious changes, and that indicates that our community is an exception made of strong and advanced spirits who come here despite all of its shortcomings and obstacles. We still need to consider the possibility that the spirit world is a part of a cleverly designed soul recycling trap. Of course, it is always an option, but the more I learn, the more I see that this is less and less of a possibility, and to this day, I have not found one reliable source of information regarding the soul trap theory. There is an overwhelming wealth of knowledge about the beauty of the spirit world and the divine, and the fact that you retain free will to do whatever you want before and after leaving this body would indicate that it is a genuine developmental process in which the ultimate goal is merging with the Creator. Keep in mind that machine of messages are consistent with NDE reports and the information from other independent sources, so it is not possible that it is all a giant lie. There is too much of information today, and it all forms too comprehensive compendium of knowledge for it to be some sort of a spiritual scam. Use your intuition as a compass, but don't let all we learned here stop you from examining all possible options at the moment of death and being confronted with the entrance to the tunnel of light. See what other options you might have. Question carefully any entity that encourages you to enter it and act based on your knowledge and intuition. At the moment of death, you should regain all of your memories anyway. It is important that you embrace the knowledge contained in this video. Many of you who have been with me for years will discover a lot of similarities between the machine of messages and what is described by others about the spirit world. I myself, through accessing the information about the world outside of Earth, found validation of my communication with psychedelic entities and the dead, and it led me to discovering the truth about who I really am and what my job here is. It should be as important to you, and you should be able to gain an enormous sense of direction after the next video. I hope you finally understand what it means to be here and what it means to leave this realm. If you did, be that rare, grateful contributor who doesn't take things for granted and appreciates the lessons that appear in your path. Donate, buy merchandise, or schedule a chat. All links below. Thank you for your help. It is much needed and much appreciated.
Don't forget to subscribe and follow. Like this video and share it with everyone you care about. For merchandise, go to shop.b434.com. Leave your email address at news.b434.com. Visit the website of the artist and the musician I featured here. For more info or contact, visit b434.com and join 434 social media on YouTube, Facebook, BitChute, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Reddit, Discord, Telegram, VK, TikTok, Tumblr, LinkedIn, Dailymotion, and a few other ones you can see on the screen now. All links in the video description and at b434.com.